Yo, what's going on, you fine savages, here on a Thursday afternoon? World Wrestling Entertainment, more commonly known as WWE. Wow, where do we start? We got a lot packed into this video here. Starting with the stock price, this whole thing with Kevin Dunn coming out shortly here. Sasha Banks, who knows where in God's green earth she's going to go, when she's going to be released. It looks like she's going to be released. Arguably the top woman's wrestler, behind Charlotte Flair, of course. But obviously a huge star. In case you've been living under a rock, we'll touch briefly on the Vince McMahon stuff. Randy Orton out till 2023, it looks like. Another monster blow. Kevin Dunn. There's a lot more to this, and I'm telling you this right now, being a lifelong WWE fan, and a lot of you guys, I'm sure, can speculate something is going on. This chair, Vince McMahon getting out probably after all of this, I don't know, but somebody was going after them bad, because there's a lot. This is too much, and some big stuff. Big stuff. So let's fire right into this son of a gun here. Brandon Thurston over on the old tweeter reporting a few hours ago, 2.1 WWE shares changed hands yesterday, about 1.5 million more than the average day volume, all before the Wall Street Journal broke the story. Okay, that was the big one that was broke on Vince and the old hush money in the bank, we like to call it now. Wow, yeah. Stock price is not doing too bad here, down 2% on the day. Looks like 2% in the week, so not doing too much, down a teeny-weeny bit. And in case you've been living under a rock, WWE board probes secret $3 million hush packed by CEO Vince McMahon. Sources say, I don't want to touch too much on this. This is everywhere now, and I'm sure most of you guys watching this know all about this. So this is a monstrous deal. I'm going to be covering all of this stuff because, one, I love wrestling, and I love soap operas. This is a better storyline than the last few years with WWE. You couldn't write this stuff, and it's just more unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And then old Kevin Dunn here, reported by bodyslam.net. They were the first to report this, I believe, probably a couple hours ago now. Anyway, it looks like Kevin Dunn may be on the hook for insider trading, while Vince McMahon may want things to be business as usual. Yeah, that ain't happening, Vinny. He can't hide from the fact that earlier this week it was revealed McMahon was being investigated by the WWE board since April of this year, the Wall Street Journal broke. WWE chairman was being investigated for the secret hush money payment of a woman Vince McMahon had a sexual relationship with. There was a little bit more breaking on that. Johnny Ace is involved. Apparently it was his sidekick. We'll touch on that later. This, of course, was bound to the affect stock price for the company when the news broke, and the board being notified that the investigation in April, any stock trading will surely be investigated. There's Brandon's tweet. Thank you, sir. 2.1 million shares. We touch on that. Apparently this here is any waiver of the code for executive officer or direct may be in the audit committee and must be promptly disclosed to stockholders. Yeah, this is a monster deal, guys. We touch on that there. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics revealed that there has been a lot of stock movement on the WWE stock over the last 24 hours. However, something more this month is relevant. Kevin Dunn sold over $1 million in stocks in May. This may be over 15,000 shares. Kevin Dunn has been a member of WWE board since '08. The board was made aware of the investigation regarding Vince McMahon in April. Dunn sold these suckers the following month, and we're now in June, folks. This would mean that Kevin Dunn would likely be investigated for insider trading as he used the knowledge as a member of the board to profit. It could also be considered stock manipulation due to Dunn having a major say in how the investigation would be handled. The SEC can seek up to 20 years in prison for insider trading and up to a $5 million fine, folks. Yeah, so we're going to keep a close eye on this. This is just a couple hours old here at best. Bodyslam.net. Thank you, savages. This here, it looks like Dirt Sheet Radio reported this yesterday. I missed it, but this is a live look in, guys, on this WWE status of Sasha Banks. Everybody waiting there patiently. You got the President Barack in there, Hillary, of course, and the rest of the savages in there. waiting patiently for some news on the old Sasha. Backstage latest on Sasha Banks reportedly being released by WWE. This is a PW Mania article, and then we'll touch on the Randy Orton one here in a second. But this is also weird, okay? Sasha's story started, we're a month, 3 weeks, whatever it's been, okay? Then you got the Vince stuff, Randy Orton injury, which is not relevant to this, but still a big deal for the company. It's one of the top stars, arguably, right? And then Vince and the gosh dang Kevin Dunn today. What in the world? I've seen nothing like this. I've been watching wrestling for 37 years 39 years to be exact. And especially in this day and age, this is a monster thing. So we are going to keep an eye on what is going on with Sasha, obviously, but backstage latest on Mrs. Banks. Sasha Banks has been released by WWE. According to reports, it wasn't clear whether Banks asked for her release or whether it was due to something on WWE's end. Now, the reports of her being released are out there. I'm not going to say that she is. It's not confirmed yet. There was no confirmation that Banks has been released since then. PWMania.com previously reported, blah, blah, blah. Banks has been released. The company has remained tight-lipped about it. Banks' lawyer, as a writing Banks list, SmackDown roster, Banks merchandise has been removed from WWE shop. That's usually one telltale sign, right, you guys? There's been no internal memos sent to the staff to remove Banks off the online roster or any other page. Nor have there been any talent relations memos to notify the roster of her departure as it's customary. There was an urgent email made to live event schedules earlier this week to remove Banks from the advertising because she was no longer a part of the event. But that was it. Okay, so we're going to probably be hearing something here very, very shortly on this. This is too big of a star to let this thing just idle, right? Randy Orton, here we are again, PW Mania. Randy Orton reportedly injured. We knew that. Latest news on his status. Just a quick brief touching on this here. Orton and Riddle, blah, blah, blah. Orton was currently undergoing consultation of neurosurgeons. Where does it say the 2022 in here? We don't need to read this whole damn thing. I seen it in there. Anyway, so that's a huge loss. We're just in the middle of June, I guess you can call it. So at least 6.5 months. Orton, so you guys, a ton going on. These are big enough stories on its own. Sasha, Kevin Dunn, just breaking on this. I'm going to touch more on this once we find out more. And then obviously El Presidente with the $3 million hush-hush money. You know for a fact there's been rumblings about Vince for years and years and years. Come on. All this guy does forever is breathe wrestling. He works out a little bit, eats good, and it's wrestling around the clock. Nothing but wrestling. Now, supposedly him and the old lady are split up. I'm sure they've been kind of putting on this face for probably decades. You know, like a Will and Jada type of situation. We're married, but we're not so married. Vince has been playing with the WWE girls. I guarantee it, and you guys know this as well, for decades. Since the beginning, I would say. Now, how often, we don't know, but you know. We know for a facto. Hey, and not a bad call, I guess, right? You own the company. Still wrong. Anyway, guys, we're going to keep a close eye on all of this madness here. Sasha, Orton, done with the insider trading, and obviously Vinnie Mac with the $3 million hush ducats. Yeah, baby. This can be better than any storyline of the year. Period. End of story. Later, guys.